when we finished the Book of Ethics, the Torch students here in Houston and I and some of my colleagues, we got together in a local kosher restaurant to celebrate this wonderful accomplishment. And I had brought my microphone with me because when I would speak, I would share my takeaways and my thoughts about this wonderful accomplishment, and I was going to share it on the podcast. But then we're in the restaurant, and I felt a bit sheepish to pull out my microphone, so I just recorded it on my phone. So what you're about to hear is the speech that I gave at the restaurant when we celebrated the conclusion of the Book of Ethics. Give it a listen. If you don't mind, if you could look past the background noise and celebrate with us as we concluded this wonderful book. And of course, my email address is rabbiwolbe@gmail.com. So my colleagues are legends to follow. You always want to follow the guy who was a disaster, not the legend. But I'll venture a chance anyhow. I'm thinking, how do we, what are the takeaways, what are the messages that I want to walk away with from our studies, particularly that of the ethics? So, of course, it's a great celebration, a great achievement, and it's a wonderful accomplishment. It's an accomplishment of a lifetime. We had over 160 different classes. Most of them were about an hour. They're pretty long. So it's 160 hours. That's a lot of time to study Torah. Of course, any Torah study is amazing, but this one is really directed at improving ourselves, like Rabbi Aryeh said. So it's very powerful. And none of us emerged from this experience the same person that we entered it. We're all improved, we're all refined, and we're all elevated. So I'm thinking I want to share a message, and I'm looking at the book, and I'm like, I'm going to pull a message from the book. And I'll say maybe a message from each one of the Mishnahs, but then I realized we'll need 160 hours to really say over what I want to say. So I'm not going to do that to you. And then I said, you know what? Maybe there's 6 chapters in the book. I'll take one message from each chapter, but we'll still be here for a while. So instead, I'm going to give you a little short idea to celebrate our conclusion and to plan ahead. In chapter 5 of our book, we read about we're supposed to mimic the animals. There's animals that we're supposed to mimic. Hashem made all these animals, and everything in the world is there to teach us something. And our sages tell us that if you want to do a big project, there's 4 animals you have to mimic, you have to copy. You have to be brazen like a leopard. Leopards are brazen. And we're supposed to be brazen. How brazen? Like a leopard. And we're supposed to fly high, soar above the sky like an eagle. Okay. Grow some wings. We're supposed to run like a deer, and we're supposed to be mighty like a lion to do the will of our Creator. It's an interesting thing. Our sages tell us there's 4 animals we're supposed to copy. And my grandfather, blessed memory, used to say about this, is that these 4 characteristics, to be brazen, and to soar, to be ascendant, and to run speedily, rapidly, and to be mighty and strong and fierce, these are the 4 attributes that we need to accomplish any great accomplishment. And I'm thinking as we look back on what we did, it was 7 years of study. We did almost every week. We had some lapses here and there, as you know, because we worked on other projects as well simultaneously. But it was a big undertaking, and I feel like all of us collectively, we really embodied this. It's a big undertaking. To say that you're going to do it, to study it, to say we're going to study this book seriously in a rigorous and comprehensive manner, you have to be a little crazy, okay? You have to be a little brazen, because it's a lot. It's a lot to do, and to do it seriously, you have to be brazen. You got to start off brazen like a leopard. And any project you undertake, you're going to hit some headwinds. You're gonna meet reality, and you're gonna get distracted, and it's gonna be difficult, and you're gonna hit bumps in the road. And the way to deal with that is to soar above it, to realize that we have the capacity to channel our inner eagle and say, I'm gonna ascend above those problems. I'll leave all the problems behind, fly above them. And when we take a project, you have to have continuity, you have to have momentum, you have to run rapidly like a deer. If you stop and you say, let's spend some time here, Let's wallow a bit. There's danger of you losing the momentum and eventually and not finishing it. And then to reach the end, you have to have Gibor Ka'ari. You have to be mighty like a lion. I was thinking, we did the 48 ways to wisdom, which is one Mishnah. All the other Mishnahs we did one episode per Mishnah. 48 ways, we did 48 episodes. Actually, I think some of them we bunched together. Over 40 episodes. And I remember we were up to way number 8. I'm like, this is a lot of work. Let's take a few months off. And then I will give a shout out to my friend Brian, who's not here. He's my friend from Arkansas. He's a friend of all of y'all's, you just don't know him. And he tells me, he's like, Rabbi, this project was started in 2017. Time to finish it. Time to finish it. And then he said, I'm going to make a big donation to Torch. Got my attention. On condition you finish it in 2024. Ever since he said that, you notice, we've been pounding. You notice that. I want to thank him because we reached the point where I was worried that we might just kind of get in a little rut, not get out of it. And we need to have a little impetus, a little catalyst, a little push, a little might of a lion to finish it. And it's not just me, it's all of us. We all undertook this together. It's a lot coming every Sunday. And listening and engaging your mind and being an active participant, not just a passive participant, but also to dedicate every Sunday morning to this. It's a great accomplishment, and all of us know that we did something very wonderful together. And we, I think, fulfilled this Mishnah. We were brazen like a leopard, and we soared like eagles, and we were swift like a deer, and we finished, thank you Hashem, with the might of a lion. But now we're finished. What now? Where do we go from here? I think to answer that question, again, we go to Pirkei Avos. In chapter 4, we read that we should do lots of mitzvos, easy mitzvos, hard mitzvos, chase them and pursue them. Why? Sheschar mitzvah mitzvah. Reams. Schar mitzvah mitzvah. The reward of a mitzvah is another mitzvah. She mitzvah goreres mitzvah. A mitzvah drags in its weight a second mitzvah. That's the teaching. You should do lots of mitzvahs. Simple ones, hard ones, easy ones. Do it all. Why? Because a mitzvah begets another mitzvah. And a mitzvah drags in its wake a second mitzvah. The reward of a mitzvah is a mitzvah. And a mitzvah drags together, following one mitzvah is another mitzvah. Now, if I told you, do mitzvahs, you get a reward. Great. What's the reward? Another mitzvah. Another mitzvah. Another mitzvah. If that's the reward, well, it's not really any reward because you're just doing more and more mitzvahs. So all the commentators ask, wait a minute, schar mitzvah mitzvah, the reward of mitzvah is a mitzvah. I'll never get anything besides for mitzvahs, which is maybe good, but what is the message of this Mishnah? And Rabbeinu Yonah, the great commentator on this book, he says something phenomenal. The Mishnah is not talking about the ultimate reward that the Almighty has in store for us. Every word of Torah, it's worth the whole world to be created. The whole universe, to study one word of Torah, it's worth it. The reward is amazing, as we are well aware, or at least we're trained to know. We cannot fathom it in our current orientation. The Mishnah is not discussing the reward. It's discussing the consequences. What happens when someone does a mitzvah? We, after all, are hybrids. We are chimera. I've said that word before over the course of the 160 episodes. We're a chimera. We're a mishmash. We're a fusion of opposites. We have a body and a soul. The body, it's like, it's not just an animal. It's like a pathetic animal. It's physicality, it's instincts. And the instincts and the physicality is kind of weak, okay? Compare any animal our size, they could dominate us in a second. So we have a body, it's kind of unimpressive. But we have a mind. We have an intellect. We have a soul. And our soul is loftier than the angels. So on one hand, spiritually, we're greater than the angels. Physically, we're worse than the animals. And we're just one thing. The mishmash, the hybrid, the fusion, the chimera. And our life is this tension. Because every choice we make is going to push us in one direction. Every mitzvah makes us more angelic. Every sin makes us more animalistic. And the net result is really, that's our free will. We get to determine which one of these two opposing and warring halves is going to be who we choose to become. That's what life's all about. A mitzvah You get the kids, I want to do a mitzvah, right? I try to get my kids to do a mitzvah. They don't want that. They want candy. They want to go swimming. They want to party. They want to celebrate. They want to run around. They want physical things. There's no desire to do a mitzvah. That's what your mother wants you to do, okay? Do your homework, brush your teeth, and do your mitzvahs. That's how we start off life. Our senses are drawn to the other side, to be more physical. And as we mature, we gain a little connection with our mind, our soul. And we get exposed to the more subtle, ethereal parts of our life. And hopefully, we begin to trend towards being more of a soul, more of an angel, more refined, less instinctual, impulsive, and animalistic. Says Rabbi Yonah, you do one mitzvah, you're acting as a soul. You're acting as an angel. You do one mitzvah, you're doing that. Amazing. But what happens once you do a mitzvah? You're actually changing who you are. If you imagine the axis, okay, you have the angel on one side, the animal on the other side, and you're in the middle. Every time you do a mitzvah, you're pivoting closer to being an angel. And thus, when you do one mitzvah, the next mitzvah is much more likely. For two reasons. The reward of a mitzvah is a mitzvah. A mitzvah drags in its wake a second mitzvah. Says Rabbi Yonah, you do one mitzvah, there's two reasons why the next mitzvah is more likely to happen. One of them is the reward of a mitzvah is a mitzvah. If you do a mitzvah, Hashem says, okay, you're interested? I'm going to help make the next mitzvah a bit easier. First time you do a mitzvah, it's really hard because you got to overcome all this built-in resistance. And then he says, okay, you do one mitzvah, I'm going to suppress some of those inhibitions, and the next mitzvah will be easier because I'm going to help you. That's my reward. Not the ultimate reward, that's the reward of doing a mitzvah. But then, when you do a mitzvah, there's another reason why. The next mitzvah is more doable. Mitzvah goreres mitzvah. Mitzvah drags and let's make a second mitzvah. When you do a mitzvah, not only have you done something that Hashem wants you to do, but you've actually changed the balance of power within you. That angel, animal chimera that you are has now shifted. It's in flux, and now it's changed a little bit. You've changed yourself physiologically to make yourself a bit more like an angel and a bit less like a beast. And thus, now you're more angelic. And as a natural consequence of that, the next mitzvah is more natural. You're not like that kid who has all that resistance. You've now changed the makeup, the balance of who you are, of what you are. You're more of an angel. And now, what do angels want to do? They want to do mitzvahs. So the Almighty's not helping here. It's what you've done. You've changed who you are. You've changed what you are. And the next mitzvah is now being dragged in this way because now you are a different person. Very powerful Mishnah, but I think there's a very powerful lesson for us. We've studied. And we've become more elevated and more educated and more knowledgeable. Hopefully, we've learned some lessons. But what our sages are telling us is that when you do a spiritual act, you would do an angelic act. Not only are you a person with more knowledge, you're a different person. You are now more angelic than you were before. So I'm thinking about this accomplishment. 7 years of study, Pirkei Avos, 5 years of study with our 13 principles of faith. We've learned a lot. And I have the receipts, okay? I've been there every week. I haven't missed a week. When I did miss a week, so did you. So I was there every week. And I have my notes. The amount of notes that I have, I'm thinking about printing it out. We're going to go to Costco and get some printer paper, okay? Because we need a lot of paper to print it all out. I want to hang it up my shelf just to show, just to have those notes in case I ever need it on Shabbos. You know, when your computer, you don't have access to the computer. I'll pull up the notes. I'll be able to show my wife. I'll say, look, I accomplished something. Look, it's right there on the bookcase. We've learned a lot. We've become educated, but we've changed, and we've been elevated. And the person that we are is not the same person that is emerging. And I think that's the takeaway. Yes, there's this incredible accomplishment that we did together. This undertaking, this project, this initiative, we had to embody all these different qualities. You got to put the hat. Okay, now I'm a leopard. Let's go. Let's do it. Now I'm an eagle, and now we got to run through like a deer. And you got to marshal the power of a lion to finish it. But now that we're done, it's important for us to realize we've been elevated, and schar mitzvah. The Almighty says, okay, you're here together celebrating Torah. I'm going to make the next bit of Torah easier for you. from heaven on high. And for a second reason, the next business is going to be easier because now we're a different person. The amount of angel that's within us has been empowered, has been augmented, has been boosted within us, and the amount of animal that's been within us has been suppressed and weakened. I don't know about you, for me it's still kind of fierce. Okay. That's fine. That's what we're here to do, but we're changed people. And I think when we continue our studies, please God, next week, 10 o'clock on Zoom, everyone's welcome to join. It's a good celebration to appreciate what we did, but also to plan our next foray into the Almighty's Holy Torah. We have a lot of very exciting things to do, please God. We have only 500 years worth of material still to cover. Maybe then we'll start from the beginning. Plenty more interesting things to cover. As we mentioned last week, we have a bunch of different ideas. But we should know that when we're studying, it's not just that we're learning or we're becoming educated and more knowledgeable. We are changing. And once you appreciate that, and you realize how powerful it is what the Almighty gives us. The tools, the ability to transform who we are, to transform what we are. That's a good reason to celebrate here together. And please God, we'll have many more opportunities to celebrate and study in good health and in great spirits. I want to thank all of y'all for coming here and for joining us. I want to thank Torch for sponsoring this wonderful celebration. I want to salute and applaud all of you for your studies. And please God, we will continue studying together. All of us should be blessed with a happy and healthy, sweet new year. May we be inscribed and sealed into the book of life, the book of Torah, the book of good things, all manner of blessing, great health, great prosperity, harmony. The Almighty should protect our brethren in the Holy Land. And of course, the hostages, we should only hear good news and good tidings from our brothers and sisters in Israel. We should all get together for joyous occasions, share good tidings with each other, and please God, continue studying the Almighty's Holy Torah every single day, every single week, every single Sunday at 10 a.m. Central. Thank you for coming. I love all you. This was a delight. And please God, we continue onward. Thank you.
Amen.